Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is CrochetDre, and yeah, I made this bikini, and I thought it was really cute, so I did a tutorial. And if you want to know how to make the bottoms, um, stay tuned. Okay, so this is the yarn I'm using. It's called I Love This Cotton. It's in the color 326 Curry. It's 100% cotton, and it calls for a 5.5 millimeter hook, but I'm using a 4 millimeter hook. So yeah, that's what I'm using for the base. And for the straps and the border, the edging, I'm using this Yarn Bee yarn that's hand dyed. It's called Market at Malta. This requires you to use a 3 millimeter hook. So yes, I'm gonna use that for the border. All right, so let's get into it. So for this, it's a size small, so I chained six. I turned my work, and then in the first space, and I flipped it over, so I'm going through the back loop only. You're gonna do a half double crochet. So I'm yarning over, putting the hook through the back loop, and I'm going to pull through, yarn over again, pull through. That's half double crochet, and then in the next stitch I'm doing just a single crochet. So that is what I call the expanded seed stitch. So it's a half double crochet and then single crochet in the back loop only. This is the first row, so we had to do everything in the back loop only for it to, just kind of make the base. But going forward, it's always going to be half double crochet and then single crochet in the back loop only. All right, so we're at the end of the first row, so we're going to always chain one at the end, turn our work, and then repeat. And so for the first 6 rows of this bikini bottoms, you're going to do no increase. So it's going to be a half double crochet in one stitch. The next stitch is going to be a single crochet back loop only. So half double crochet, single crochet, back loop only. All right, and so we're going to do that. So there should be, if you're doing a size small, it'll be 6 stitches in each row. If you're doing a larger size, just scale up for however, measure what you need to measure. But basically there's no increases for the first 6 rows of this piece right here. All right, so row 7, we're doing an increase. So I do a half double crochet and a single crochet in the same stitch. After the half double crochet, I always put my stitch marker using my bobby pin in to keep my place. And yeah, and then I put the single crochet in that same stitch. So after that, you're going to do half double crochet in one stitch and single crochet back loop only in the next stitch until you get to the last stitch in the row. And then in that last stitch, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to put 2 stitches in there, the half double crochet, and you're going to put a single crochet in there. So that is your first increase. You're going to chain one, turn your work, and then in the next row, in row 8, you're not going to do an increase. And actually in row 8 through 12, it's going to pretty much be the same thing. You're going to do no increase, so just do the stitch, the expanded seed stitch, which is the half double crochet in the first stitch, single crochet back loop only next stitch, repeat until the end. So since we increased, we should now have 8 stitches in a row, in each row that we do. So from rows 8 through 12, we're going to do no increase. All right, so now we're on row 13, and we're going to increase by doing the half double crochet and the single crochet in the first stitch, and then half double crochet and then single crochet back loop only for the row. And then when you get to the last stitch of the row, we're going to of course put the half double crochet and the single crochet in that same stitch again. So row 13, when we're done with row 13, we should have 10 stitches in the row because we increased. So next row, is row 14, and there is no increase in this row, so we're just going to do half double crochet and one stitch, single crochet, back loop only in the next. We're going to do that for the whole entire row. And then I already did row 15, so right here I'm just counting out 12 stitches because I increased again by doing the half double crochet, single crochet in the first and last stitches. So there's 12 in row 15, and then row 16 there is no increase, and then it's pretty much going to go back and forth like that. So row 16 should have 12 stitches in it as well. And we're just continuing to do the same expanded C stitch, the half double crochet in one stitch, single crochet, back loop only in the next. All right, so you always chain one at the end, flip your work, and then the next row, row 17, we are going to do an increase. So half double crochet and single crochet in that same first stitch, half double crochet in one stitch, single crochet, back loop only in the next stitch for the row, and then last stitch of the row we do that half double crochet and single crochet in the same row again. So row 17, since we do an increase in this row, there should be 14 stitches in this row, and then in row 18 there's also going to be 14 stitches because we're not doing any increase in row 18. So I've completed row 19, and row 19 should have 16 stitches in it because we did an increase the same way we've been doing the increase this whole time. Row 20, we're not doing an increase, so there's going to be 16 stitches in that row as well because we're not doing an increase there. All right, so now we're at row 21, which is an increase row. So we're going to put that half double crochet, single crochet in the same stitch, do this expanded C stitch for the row, half double crochet in one stitch, single crochet, back loop only in the next stitch, and then in the last stitch of the row, do a half double crochet and a single crochet. And so for row 21, we have 18 stitches in that row, and it'll be no increase for row 22, so there'll also be 18 stitches in that row as well. So row 23 is an increase row, so we're doing an increase the same way we've been doing it, half double crochet, single crochet in that first stitch of the row, expanded C stitch for the entire row, and then once you get to the last stitch of the row, increase again by doing the half double crochet and a single crochet in the same stitch. And so row 23 should have 20 stitches, and row 24 should have 20 stitches as well, because in row 24 we're not doing an increase. All right, so now we're on row 25, which is an increase row. So we're going to increase the same way we've been doing it, half double crochet and single crochet in that first stitch of the row. Do the expanded C stitch, which is half double crochet one stitch, single crochet, back loop only for the next stitch. Do that for the entire row until you get to the last stitch of the row, and then you're going to do a half double crochet, single crochet in that last stitch of the row, just like we've been doing this whole time. So row 25 should have 22 stitches in it, and so should row 26, because row 26 we're not doing an increase. All right, so now we've completed row number 26, and now row 27 through 29 we're going to increase each row. So row 27 we're going to increase, and it should have 24 stitches in it. Row 28 we're going to increase, and that row should have 26 stitches in it. And then row 29 we're going to increase, and that should have 28 stitches in it. Congratulations, you are done with the front panel of your bikini. Okay, so now we're on the back panel. So you're going to attach your yarn to the bottom edge of the front panel, the first row, and you're going to put a half double crochet and a single crochet in that first stitch. First stitch is an increase, and then you're going to do the expanded seed stitch, which is half double crochet in one stitch. Next stitch, single crochet, back loop only. You're going to do that for the row, and then when you get to the last stitch of the row, you're going to increase again by doing the half double crochet and single crochet in the same stitch. So that's going to be your first row, and then of course you're going to chain one and turn your work and start on row 2. All right, so once you turn your work, you're going to do row 2, which is also going to be 8 stitches, just like the first row, because there's no increase on row 2. And then we get to row 3. Row 3, you're going to increase again the same way, half double crochet, single crochet in that first stitch of the row, expand the C stitch for the entire row until you get to the last stitch of the row. And the last stitch you're going to increase again by doing the half double crochet, single crochet in the same stitch, chain one, turn your work. So in row 3 you should have 10 stitches, and you'll also have 10 stitches in row 4 as well. So for rows 4 through 7, we're not going to do any increases for those rows, so that means there's going to be the same amount of stitches in all of those rows. So 4 through 7, rows 4 through 7, there should be 10 stitches in each row, and I always just keep count, especially when I'm making something, for the first or second time. Just count them stitches. All right, so now we're on row 8. In row 8 we're going to increase same way we've been increasing, half double crochet, single crochet in that first stitch, expanded seed stitch for the row, and then the last stitch you're going to increase again by doing the half double crochet, single crochet in the same row. So row 8 should have 12 stitches. All right, so we're going to turn our work and do another increase for row 9 the same way, half double crochet, single crochet in the same stitch, that first stitch, expanded seed stitch for the row, and then the last stitch of the row is going to be an increase again. So I've completed rows 9 and 10. Row 9 was an increase row, so you increase the same way we have been doing the whole time, half double crochet first stitch and single crochet in that same stitch, expanded seed stitch for the row, and then increase again in the last stitch with the half double crochet and a single crochet. And so that is row 9 and row 10. Row 11 is an increase row, so there should be 16 stitches when you get finished with row 11. So row 12, there's no increase, so there'll also be 16 stitches in row 12 as well. All right, so row 13 through 15, they're all going to have 18 stitches. Row 13 is the increase row, so we'll increase doing the half double crochet, single crochet in the first stitch, expanded seed stitch the row, last stitch of the row, increase half double crochet, single crochet in the same stitch. And then rows 14 and 15, we're just not going to do any increases, so each of those rows should have 18 stitches. All right, and so then row 16 is going to have 20 stitches because that is an increase row. So right here I'm just counting out the 20 stitches. And then row 17 is also an increase row. So we're going to increase the same way we've been doing. And then row 18, there's no increase. So there's still going to be 22 stitches in row 18. Row 19 is an increase row. So you're going to increase the same way you've been doing. And there should be 24 stitches in row 19. All right, and so row 20 is going to be another increase row. So we're going to increase the same way in the first stitch of the row and the last stitch of the row by adding the half double crochet and a single crochet in the same stitch. So by the end of row 20, there should be 26 stitches. And so the next row, row 21, is not an increase row. So we're just going to do the expanded seed stitch, half double crochet in the first stitch, next stitch, single crochet back loop only, and you're going to do that for the entire row, no increases. So there should still be 26 stitches in this row, in row 21. All right, so row 22, there is no increase. Row 23, there is an increase. So in row 23, there should be 28 stitches, and then in row 24, there should be 30 stitches. And row 24 is going to be the last row of the back panel for the bikini bottoms. So we're getting there. So the body of the bikini bottoms is done, and now we're about to do the border. And for the border, I'm using a lighter weight yarn, and so that means I'm using a smaller crochet hook. So I'm using the 3mm hook to do the border. And so basically we're just going to do single crochet around the entire border of the bikini bottoms. So basically I just add a single crochet wherever it seems to make sense. You want to just add it evenly, and just make sure that it just looks good. And then when I get to the corners, I will usually add like a slip stitch before I turn and start going down another row, just like I did there. So basically, do that as you see fit. It usually helps it to, lay flat, or what have you. And yeah, so that's what I do in that situation when I get to the corners, and then I just keep going, and still I'm just adding a single crochet in every stitch, to create the border. All right, and so we are now finishing up the border. We're just connecting the two sides together with a slip stitch, and that's it for the single crochets. All right, so our single crochet border is done, and it's looking real cute. It's looking really cute, and so we just have to add a couple more finishing touches. All right, so to make the ties, we're going to attach the yarn to the corner, the top corner of the bikini bottom, and you're going to do this 4 times to make 4 ties in total. And so you're going to attach the yarn, place a single crochet in that first stitch, and then you're going to single crochet down the next 4 stitches of the row. So you're going to have 5 single crochets total. You're going to chain 1, and then you're going to turn your work. And one thing I'm going to do is use that bobby pin as a stitch marker. I'm going to put that stitch marker right up in there just to keep everything straight. And then in the next row, you're just going to do the same amount of stitches, do those 5 single crochets, chain 1, turn your work. All right, now this next row, row 3, is going to be a decrease row. So you're going to decrease by adding 2 stitches together. So that first stitch, you're going to go into it, yarn over, pull through, yarn over again, pull through the next stitch, and then pull through both. So that's how you decrease, by adding 2 stitches together. So we're going to add those 2 stitches together and then just do single crochet down the rest of the stitches, which there should be 3 stitches left. So in this row you should have 4 stitches all together. And then you're gonna, at the end of the row, you're going to chain 1, you're going to turn your work, and you're going to single crochet in the 4 stitches. So it'll be 4 stitches in row 4 as well. So row 3 should have 4 stitches, and row 4 should have 4 stitches as well. All right, now row 5 is going to be a decrease row. So we're going to add 2 single crochets together. So go through the first stitch, pull, yarn over, pull through, go through the second stitch, yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over again, pull through both, and you decreased again. So row 5 should have 3 stitches, your decrease stitch, and then the last 2 stitches in the row, you're gonna again chain 1 at the end, turn your work, and then row 6, you're going to just crochet into those 3 single crochets. So rows 5 and 6 should both have 3 stitches each. All right, so now we are at row 7. Row 7 is a decrease row. So you're going to add those 2 stitches together. Again, yarn, go through the first stitch, yarn over, pull through, go through the second stitch, yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over again, pull through both stitches, and that's the decrease. And then you're going to single crochet into the only stitch left in the row. So row 7 should have 2 stitches. You're going to chain 1, turn your work, and then row 8 is also going to have 2 stitches, no decrease. So we're just going to single crochet into those 2 stitches. All right, so row 9 is going to be a decrease row. So you're going to turn your work, you're going to pull through that first stitch, yarn over, pull through, go through the second stitch, yarn over, pull through, and pull through both, and that's your decrease for row 9. So that's the last stitch of that row. And then you're going to chain up the amount that I did was 64. You have to do whatever amount is going to work for your size, but for this size small, I chained up 64, and then once I got finished chaining up the 64, I turn my work, and then I'm going to go down that chain, and I'm going to put a slip stitch in each of the stitches in the chain. So it's tedious, especially when you're using a 3mm hook, which I don't usually do, but you know, I did it for this because it looks so good. But yeah, so you're going to put those slip stitches all the way back down the row that you chained up, and yeah, it's going to take a little minute. And when you're done doing those slip stitches, you're going to slip stitch into the stitch at the base to secure it, and then you're going to fasten off. You're done with that tie. All right, and so this is how the tie should look. Your base and then the string, and you have to do this 4 times at each of the 4 corners of the top of the bikini. All right, so now we're going to get into the details. So right at the beginning of the base of the tie, you're going to go ahead and put some single crochets in there. I believe I did 11 for each tie. I only did it across the top part of each tie just to kind of, give it a little bit of, a uniform look, because right next to that at the bikini part, you have that row of single crochets, that border. So basically I'm putting some single crochets at the base of the tie so that it looks uniform and together. So yeah, so just put, evenly add the single crochets to that part, and you're going to do this on all 4 ties, of course. All right, and this is how it's looking at the end. So we have our single crochets down the base of the tie. All right, and then we're going to add just a little bit of razzle dazzle on the border at the top of the bikini. So you're going to slip stitch into that first stitch. You're going to chain 3, and then you're going to slip stitch into that same stitch. All right, and we're going to do this all the way across the top part of the bikini, and it's just going to give it a little, little razzle, little dazzle, make it look a little fancier. Something simple you can do to just, add a uniqueness to your bikini. So this is how it looks. Just a little cute little border at the top, to give it just a little extra oomph. And then I don't believe I showed this part, but once you're finished doing the slip stitch, chain 3 slip stitch, at the next base tie of the bikini, you're gonna add those single crochets just like you did for the other side. So each side looks the same. And then once you're done all 4 ties, last but not least, you gotta tuck those strings in, sew it on up. All right, and here we go, the finished bikini bottoms. I love how they turned out. And so next tutorial is going to be the top of the bikini, but let me know if you guys try the bikini bottoms. Let me know how the tutorial works out for you. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments. And if you made it all the way to the end, I just want to thank you so much. And if you enjoyed this content, like and subscribe for more. See you next time.